The gold medal is officially stained with the dirt of a secret war and the stench of professional jealousy. What you are looking at is not just a roster snub, but a calculated hit job carried out in the shadows of private messaging apps. Caitlin Clark was never going to make that team because the decision was made months before she even stepped foot on a professional court. This was a coordinated effort by a group of bitter veterans who value their own ego over the growth of the game.
Yo, if you love real basketball stories, deep dives, and the drama behind the game, you're in the right place. But if you want to take it to the next level, hit that join button. Members get exclusive content, early access, and behind-the-scenes drops you won't see anywhere else. Plus, you're directly supporting the channel and helping us bring you even better content. So if you rock with Basketball Spilled, become a member today. Let's keep the game alive.
They saw a rookie coming for their throne, and they decided to burn the bridge before she could ever cross it. This is the total meltdown of the Olympic Committee and the ruin of legacies that were once considered untouchable. We are pulling back the curtain on the most disgusting display of gatekeeping in the history of women's basketball. The truth is finally out, and the evidence is impossible to ignore. Before we dive into the logs and expose the names behind this blacklist, you need to join the truth seekers. Subscribe to Basketball Spilled right now and join our Inner Circle membership to get our exclusive weekly long-form documentaries that the league tries to take down. Use the hype button and the super thanks below to support this investigation, because we are the only ones willing to tell you what the mainstream media is too scared to say. By joining the Inner Circle, you are helping us fight against the league narrative and the corrupt front offices that want to keep fans in the dark. We do not take sponsorships from the teams we cover, so your support is the only thing keeping these deep dives alive. Now, let us get back to the evidence that is rocking the foundations of the WNBA. The digital trail starts in a private group chat titled the OG Circle, which included the most powerful veteran players in the league. These are the same players who smile for the cameras while sharpening their knives behind the scenes. The messages reveal a systematic plan to ensure Caitlin Clark was left off the plane to Paris, regardless of her performance on the court. One veteran star explicitly wrote that bringing the rookie along would take food off their plates and eyes off their brands. They were not worried about winning a gold medal because they knew they could win that without her. They were worried about the spotlight shifting away from the old guard and toward the future of the sport. The gatekeeping was not just a suggestion, but a requirement for anyone who wanted to keep their status in the locker room. They coordinated their public comments to make it seem like a basketball decision while privately laughing about keeping the golden girl at home. The chats show that these veterans pressured the selection committee by threatening to make the Olympic locker room a living nightmare if a rookie was included. They used their leverage as multi-time gold medalists to bully the front office into submission. The messages proved that there was a consensus that Clark had not paid her dues, which is code for "she is too popular for our liking." They mocked her shooting splits and her turnovers in the group chat, while ignoring the fact that she was drawing more fans than the rest of the league combined. It was a high school clique mentality disguised as professional standards. The level of pettiness is staggering, with one player suggesting they should all post about their chemistry to prove why a newcomer would ruin the flow. They were more concerned with their private club than they were with growing the game on a global stage. The front office is just as guilty because they had these logs and they chose to look the other way to appease the veterans. They traded the chance to have the biggest television ratings in Olympic history for the sake of keeping a few toxic stars happy. The meritocracy myth is officially dead because the stats tell a story that the committee tried to erase. Caitlin Clark was leading the league in assists and breaking records every single night, while the players selected over her were struggling to stay relevant. The leaked messages show the committee members actually asking the veterans for their permission on the roster spots. This was a total surrender of authority to a group of players who were acting out of spite and fear. The corruption goes all the way to the top, and it shows that the league is run by a small group of influencers rather than the best athletes. But what the cameras missed was the absolute panic that set in when they realized these chats might go public. The veterans started deleting messages and changing group names the second the snub became a national scandal. They thought they could bury the truth under a mountain of PR statements about veteran experience and defensive rotations. But the paper trail is too long and the betrayal is too deep to be covered up by a few scripted interviews. The leaked audio from a private dinner in Las Vegas confirms that the vets were celebrating the snub as a victory for the old school. They were clinking glasses over the fact that they managed to keep the biggest draw in basketball history away from the world stage. It was a celebration of mediocrity and a middle finger to every fan who wanted to see the best players represent their country. The evidence of the blacklist extends to the brand deals and the corporate sponsors who were also being lobbied by veteran agents. There were backroom deals made to ensure that the rookie did not get the same Olympic marketing pushes as the established stars. The veterans felt that their seniority entitled them to every billboard and every commercial slot in Paris. When they saw the Nike deals and the Gatorade deals going to a rookie, they lost their minds and decided to use the Olympic roster as a weapon. This was financial warfare disguised as a roster selection. They wanted to devalue her brand by making her look like she was not good enough for the national team. It was a calculated attempt to stunt her growth and protect their own crumbling empires. The veteran stars involved in this have forever tarnished their reputations as leaders. A true leader would want the best for the game and would welcome the next generation with open arms. Instead, they acted like petty tyrants protecting a small kingdom. The locker room cancer that has been growing for years is finally visible to the public eye. They have created a divide in the league that may never be healed because the fans now see them for what they really are. They are not mentors, but obstacles who are terrified of being forgotten. Every time they step on the court now, they will be remembered as the ones who tried to hold the tide back. Their legacies are no longer about gold medals, but about the secret messages they sent to keep a young star down. The league tried to frame this as a difficult basketball decision, but we know that is a lie. You don't leave the best playmaker in the world at home unless you are trying to send a message, and that message was received loud and clear by every fan who has been watching the ratings skyrocket. The veterans think they won this round, but they have actually lost the war for the heart of the fans. The public support for the rookie has only grown, while the veterans are being called out for their cowardice. They thought they were protecting their brand, but they have actually made themselves the villains of the story. The coordinated blacklist was a desperate move by a group of players who know their time is running out. As we look at the fallout of this scandal, it is clear that the Olympic Committee needs a total overhaul. They allowed themselves to be bullied by a few loud voices in a group chat instead of doing their jobs. They failed the fans and they failed the sport by participating in this petty blacklist. The corruption is deep and it reaches into every corner of the front office. We are seeing the beginning of the end for the gatekeepers who have run this league for too long. They can try to hide behind their past accomplishments, but the digital evidence of their toxicity is here to stay. The fans are not as stupid as the league thinks they are, and they can see right through the excuses. The final proof of this disaster is the lack of accountability from anyone involved. Not a single veteran has stood up to admit that the process was flawed or that the rookie deserved a spot. They have doubled down on their arrogance and their entitlement. They continue to treat the league like a private country club where only their friends are allowed to succeed. But the walls are closing in on them because the evidence is undeniable. The leaked group chats are the smoking gun that proves the entire Olympic selection was a fraud. It was a coordinated hit job designed to protect the egos of a few failing stars at the expense of the entire sport. Caitlin Clark is the hero of this story because she stayed professional while the veterans acted like children. She didn't need a group chat to prove her worth because she did it on the court every single night. The snub only served to highlight how much the league needs her and how much the veterans fear her. She is a victim of a corrupt system that values politics over performance. But the truth has a way of coming out, and the gatekeepers are now the ones being judged. They thought they could silence the future, but they only made it louder. The old guard have officially moved from being icons to being the biggest problem in the sport. Their jealousy has blinded them to the fact that the game is bigger than any one player or any one clique. They tried to kill the momentum of the league to save their own vanity. This was not a snub based on basketball, but a betrayal based on fear. The public will never look at these veterans the same way again after seeing the raw evidence of their malice. They are no longer the heroes of the basketball world, but the villains who tried to rig the game. The Olympic snub was a dark day for women's basketball, but it was also a turning point. It showed us who the real leaders are and who the real cancers are. The veterans showed their true colors in those private messages, and those colors are ugly. They traded their honor for a bit of gatekeeping and a few more moments in a spotlight they no longer deserve. The front office proved they are spineless by allowing this to happen under their watch. The league is at a crossroads, and the fans are demanding better than the corruption we have seen.
We will not stop until every name in that group chat is held accountable for what they did. The veterans can keep their gold medals, but they have lost the respect of the people who actually matter. They can pretend they made the right choice, but the empty seats and falling ratings will tell a different story. They chose their egos over the fans, and now they have to deal with the consequences. The era of the toxic vet is coming to a violent end, and the rookie they tried to bury is the one who will lead the way forward. The Blacklist failed because you cannot stop greatness with a few text messages. The truth is the ultimate weapon, and the veterans are currently standing in the line of fire. The legacy of the 2024 Olympic team will not be the games they won, but the player they were too afraid to take. It will be remembered as the team that was built on a foundation of spite and secret group chats. The veterans have written their own ending, and it is one of bitterness and gatekeeping. They had the chance to be mentors, but they chose to be monsters. The curtain has been pulled back, and the view is absolutely disgusting. No amount of PR can fix the damage that these leaks have caused to the reputation of the league leaders. They are the villains of their own story, and the world is finally watching them fall. The veterans thought they were untouchable, but they forgot that the digital age leaves a trail that never goes away. Every message they sent to keep the rookie down is now a stain on their career that they can never wash off. They are the ones who turned the Olympic dream into a nightmare of politics and pettiness. The fans will never forget the names of the players who chose their own brand over the growth of the game. This was a systematic betrayal of everything the sport is supposed to stand for. The veterans have destroyed their own house just to keep a newcomer out of the front door. The final buzzer has sounded on the reputations of the veteran stars who thought they could control the narrative through a private blacklist. They are no longer the champions of the sport, but the gatekeepers who tried to hold back the future out of pure, unadulterated jealousy.